Hello to you. I greet you all in the name of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Today I am answering some questions that came out of my last discussion on sex. And if you are viewing this for the first time, I just want you to understand the background of it. This came about when I decided to, moved by the Spirit, to talk on the subject of sex in the church. And it's believed, and I believe also, that the church have not spoken about sex enough. And the church, I mean the people of Christ's people, are suffering when it comes to the area of sex because we have not spoken about it enough. And most marriages are going through troubles, to problems, to constraints when it comes to the area of sex because the church is not talking about sex enough. If I have a way, I'll tag the last video on this one so you can have a background. You can go back and listen to it, because today I'm just here to answer the questions that came out of the last video when we spoke about sex as a church, when I spoke about sex as a church. Again, if you're watching me for the first time, I'm Reverend Gifty Luba, and I am a pastor of Bethel House of Grace in Toronto, Ontario, Ajax, to be precise. And I'm also a registered social worker and a counselor. So today I'm here to answer the questions that came about since I spoke about sex the last time. And I did have few that I will answer today. Some of them I will definitely not answer. So if you don't hear me addressing some of those personal questions, it's because they are personal. And I'm trying to generally talk on the subject of sex, and it's not geared towards my personal experience. It's not like focusing on me. It's generalized. We are generally focusing on the subject of sex as a church. And so I'll answer some of the questions that came in as best as I can today, and some other ones I'll answer later. And as the Spirit of God moves me, I'll come again and we will talk about sex once more. So I have about 3 or 4 questions to answer in this video. I hope I'll be able to make it very concise, but also in a way that you understand it very clearly. So question number 1 that I got, I'm just going to read it verbatim. Is sex the only way to be happy in marriage? Is sex the only way to be happy in marriage? Marriage is like cooking, beloved. Marriage is like cooking. You need different ingredients to bring up the taste, to bring up the flavor in cooking. It's the same as marriage. You're leaving your father's house, your mother's house, to cleave to your husband, to cleave to your wife, to become one. In that space, a lot of things happen. In that space, a lot of things contribute to your happiness or your non-happiness, to your sadness and to your grief. It's a lifelong relationship. So within that lifelong relationship, a lot of things may happen or may not happen. So sex is only one aspect of marriage. But it's, as I said, it's like cooking. It's a lot of things that come together to make marriage a happy place, or make you happy in marriage. And looking at the term, is sex the only thing to make you happy in marriage? Beloved, I want you to understand the word happiness is subjective. What do I mean? Your idea of happiness, my idea of happiness, your brother's idea of happiness, your friend's idea of happiness may all be different, because what makes me happy may not be what makes you happy. So we are never going to be the master of somebody that is able to master what makes somebody happy, unless you closely study them and try to work towards what you have observed in that individual's life. That is what makes us human beings. We learn every day. We learn about our spouse. We learn about the people we interact with. Same way we do in marriage. So what makes you happy may be different, but your spouse is in that position to learn about you and find ways and means to make you happy. Part of that might be sex. It may not be sex. It depends on what makes you happy. The Bible also gives guidelines of what makes a marriage happy. The book of First Corinthians spoke about depriving one another in sex, that we should not deprive one another in sex. And it also spoke of the fact that my body belongs to my husband and my husband's body belongs to me. So what is the Bible telling you? As spouse, your body belongs to each other. So, and in the book of Ephesians also gave guidelines of love and submission and, and respect. So all of these things, a lot of these things and all of these things inclusive are the ingredients that makes a home happy. Beloved, the Bible tells us in Proverbs 21 verse 9, it said, better to dwell in a corner of a housetop than in a house shared with contentious woman, a quarrelsome woman, a woman that is naggy. So that one was just focusing on women, but it can also be, sorry, a call was coming in, but it can also be that a man can be quarrelsome. So what is the Bible telling us? The Bible is telling you to try to control your character in order to be able to share a space happily with somebody. You cannot be a contentious woman or a woman that argues, that fights all the time, same way being a man, and you expect to be happy in that marriage. So for marriage to be happy, you gotta be able to fit in all things that make your spouse happy. Like I said in my last discussion, sex is for pleasure and for procreation. And for you to have pleasure, you have to be able to have the right environment for it, the right atmosphere for it. You can be in a party and yet you're not having fun. You can be in a club, for those that are going to club, because I haven't. You can be in a club, I see it in movies, and yet you're not happier, because it all depends on how your heart is. So no matter how you present sex, if your spouse is not happy, your spouse is not going to have pleasure out of it. That is why I always tell my couple, sex is not only does not start in the bedroom. Sex has to do with everything else, including the environment, including the atmosphere. How does it look for you to get a good sexual relationship? It has to be as a result of so many other ingredients coming together, so that as a couple you will enjoy one another and have pleasure out of sex. So as couples, for you to be able to get good sex, it doesn't start in the bedroom. It comes with good relationship between yourself and your spouse. It comes with good communication, and it comes with connection. So I hope that I've answered this question enough, that says, is sex the only way to be happy in marriage? Sex is not the only way to be happy in marriage, but it's part of the ingredient that can make a marriage happy. And the second question is, how do you explain how do you explain why a wife or a husband tells the other that they are not sexy? How do you explain why a wife or a husband tells the other that they are not sexy? The word sexy, again, is another term that can be interpreted differently by different people. It's subjective. So sexiness, in actual sense, the definition of being sexy, it means you are sexually attractive to the other person. You can see somebody say this person is sexy. It means you are sexually attracted to that person. Again, I said it's a relative term, because what makes somebody look sexually attractive to you is different from what makes the other person interprets as sexy. So if you look at the definition of sexy, sexual attraction. So, but I believe that for sexual attraction comes in marriage, not outside of marriage. So if you have gone ahead to marry somebody, it means there is an initial aspect in it that brings physical attraction, emotional attraction, and sexual attraction. So what makes you in that marriage so all of a sudden transcend or move from the somebody that you used to be sexually attracted to and now tell them they are not sexy? That again can mean a lot of things. It can mean a lot of things. So what it can mean a lot of things based on who is talking or why are they saying their spouse is not sexy. But a general rule of thumb or the guideline of sexiness, sexual attraction, has to do with personal hygiene. Remember, food is first pleasant to the sight. When you see food, depending on how the food looks, you may say, oh, I may like that food, I may not like the food. When you first and foremost are attracted to the food by the looks of it, and then you take your spoon and delve into it, and then you'll know if you like more of it or not. Well, not, I'm just making an example out of that, because when you have your wife, you have to like whatever your wife comes with, because that's why that wife or husband is in that space. You already got that attraction, so you just gotta keep it going. And what do you do to keep that sexual attraction going? Personal hygiene. Keep yourself clean. Don't go, women, I'm talking from a woman's perspective. You don't go to the bed smelling like fish, looking all unkept, and you expect your husband to look at you as sexually attractive. Remember, like I said, food first is pleasant to the sight. So the sight before you can actually taste it. So you look good, you smell good, and that begins to create desire for you. Oh, my wife smells good tonight. Atmosphere. We're building an atmosphere. We're building an atmosphere for attraction. You see, most women, it's not only women, some men also do not keep themselves sexually attractive. You come to bed, you don't smell good, you're sweaty, you want me to touch your skin and it's all sticky. So the best thing I normally say, don't go to bed look with all sweat and scent. Go take a bath, take a shower, keep yourself clean. And that's hygiene. Personal hygiene, taking care of your private parts, taking care of all those stubborn areas where odor will not let go of you. All of those things are part of the environment and the atmosphere you're creating for sex. So, and I know that most women, especially, I'm talking again from women's perspective, and that does not let you, the man, go free, because you, the man, can be doing the same things too. So what most women abandon themselves in when they get married. Not because sometimes they don't wish to. Sometimes they're just overworked. They're just overwhelmed, because some men, if it happens again to women, some men will just abandon everything in their hand of the wife. So the wife becomes like a slave. She's working from morning to night, taking care of kids, taking care of the home, taking care of you, taking care of everything. In some cases, like in the modern days, this same woman will go out to work and come back and take care of the home and take care of you. And you are just relaxed, not doing anything. At the end of the day, that woman is too tired to take a shower. Some women will even use it as a way of escape. Don't take a shower, just go lay down. And when you smell me, I don't smell good, you don't desire me anymore. So it is good to work as a team. It is good for you both to work as a team. Again, it stems to what I said in the earlier broadcast: communication. Talking about your sexual needs, talking about your sexual expectation. This will help with all of these questions. Whether your husband or your wife sees you as sexy. Also, men and women, we are supposed to team up and work together so that we ease the burden of one another. So one person does not feel overworked and feel like they're being treated like a slave. And then they are disgruntled, and then they go to bed not looking good. And then you come out and say, my wife has just left her body like that. My husband has just left her body. It's because sometimes they're tired. That does not exempt you, though, from taking care of yourself and taking care of your personal hygiene. Beloved, listen, I'm against women ordering their husbands around. Oh, go get me that cup. Oh, go cook this for me. Oh, go do that for me. I am strongly against that. I'm strongly against you ordering your husband. I believe that everybody the Bible has specifically given us our positions in our marriage. But also, as a man, when your wife is overworked, you should be able to know. If you love your wife, you'll be able to know that they're overworked. You'll be able to know that they get tired, and you'll be able to understand that you have to treat them as partner, as teammates, mates, and not slaves. Bottom line is, when you take care of yourself, you look sexy, you feel sexy, even for your own self. So that question, again, as I said, is relative, but also there is a lot of things. Atmosphere, being overworked, not feeling that you're being helped, and also neglect of yourself. Take care of yourself. Sometimes you take care of yourself, you feel good, just even for you. And if you are not sexy to yourself, you don't feel good to yourself, you don't want to give yourself to nobody, yet alone your wife. You feel burdened. And another question is, somebody asked me, I don't even know how to answer that question. But if you are viewing this and you have an answer to it, help me put the answer in the comments box. The person asks, is sex a choice in marriage? I don't know what they mean. I don't know what they mean if sex is a choice in marriage. Does that mean that you want to be married but don't have sex? Or I don't know what it means. But I believe that a woman and a man comes together and they are supposed to multiply, be fruitful and multiply. And I believe the only way to be fruitful and multiply is through sex. And in the process of trying to be fruitful and multiply, which is procreation, pleasure comes in. So that's what I believe. But I don't know what you believe. You that is watching out there, help me answer this question. Is sex a choice in marriage? The last question that I'll answer today is, what if your spouse say they don't like sex? What if your spouse say they don't like sex? That can mean a lot of things. It can never be that they don't really like sex. In some cases, they don't. I've met a couple where both of them are like, no, we just don't like sex. But in most cases, when one of the partners says they don't like sex, it might be as a result of past experiences. It might be that they were abused in the past. It might be that they have never had pleasure in sex. So it's because they have never achieved any pleasure in it, they don't desire it. That is what will bring me to the subject of consent versus rape, which I don't want to deal with in this video. I'll find a time to come online live or send a video like this, a video recording like this, where I discuss the subject of consent versus rape in marriage. The reason why I don't want to bump it up, it's a quite interesting and a very important subject to deal with on its own. So I don't want to bump it in there. But yes, your spouse might be saying they don't like sex because of past experiences, because of history, or because they never had pleasure in it, so they don't desire it. But if you're looking at this video again, it's Reverend Gifty Luba, a counselor, a pastor, a social worker, and I'm sharing experiences from people's experiences, from academic examples, and from your questions which you have asked today. So I've answered as best as I can. If you have the questions that were asked and you have something to add to it, I'll be very happy to see your response about these questions that we have dealt with in this video. So God bless you. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to share. And if you are viewing this on the Bethel House of Grace Facebook page, please follow us on the page. And also we have a YouTube channel, which is Bethel House of Grace Ministry, Ajax, Ontario. I know a lot of people come back and ask me, where are you and where is your church? I am from Sierra Leone, West Africa, and my church is in Ajax, Ontario, Canada. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Stay blessed. Until we meet again. Bye-bye.